We're going to start with our greetings from elected officials. So let's see. Up first, we have Congresswoman Sydney Calmager Dove, who is on her home turf representing California's 37th. Oh, am I supposed to do this slide? Yep, you don't need to see. Nope, that was what we skipped. There we go. I'm killing it. Back to Congresswoman Sydney Calmager Dove. Okay, we are here on her turf today, and she has been a tireless advocate for under-invested communities, children, and working families. From her time in the California State Assembly and Senate to her current role in the U.S. House of Representatives, she has continuously pushed for policies that address inequities in healthcare and mental health support. Her leadership in the fight for maternal mental health justice, particularly for Black women and marginalized communities, has been transformative. We're deeply grateful for her leadership and dedication to health equity and systemic change. Please join me in welcoming Congresswoman Sydney Calmager Dove.
I love being introduced by a comedian. So hello, I'm Sydney Calmager Dove. I'm the Congresswoman for the 37th Congressional District. It is true, this is my turf. I love being here. I was reflecting on the title of this, From Pain to Power, and I was thinking, yeah, that's my life in Congress. From pain in Washington, D.C., power coming back home. And so we are on recess right now, which is code for working harder than you would normally work when you are in DC. But I'm so happy to be home because there is nothing makes me feel better than at least going to sleep in my, own bed on my own sheets, right? And I know exactly what I'm going to face when I get up in my own district. When you're in Washington, D.C., you're just holding on to whatever. I don't want to catch a case. But I am so heartened to be here, and it's amazing to see so many faces in a crowd like this to talk about something really important and very vulnerable and overwhelming. And the fact that so many folks are here means that we are all where we are supposed to be. And if only we could continue to have these kinds of convenings everywhere so that folks feel more and more safe talking about issues that are incredibly personal. It is tough. It is tough trying to have a family. It is tough trying to manage through what that even means in your world. It is tough having to deal with all of the obstacles. And you're like, how come nobody wrote a book about this and gave it to me before I even decided to ask myself these questions about this new journey? I tell my mother that all the time. I've had my own challenges with trying to conceive. So you never told me any of this. If I had known, I would have started like 29 million years ago. But we live in a time where 1 in 5 women suffer pregnancy-related mental health challenges, and where Black women are twice as likely to experience maternal mental health conditions, and only half of them receive treatment. Where 50% of postpartum depression cases in women of color go unreported. I say sunlight is the best disinfectant. If we can talk about it, normalize that these situations, experiences, traumas arise, force people to see us, then we can change the dynamics in which we are operating and the policies that govern us. If we can talk about these stigmas, we can make even more connections between mental health and physical health, postpartum depression, childbirth, and the survival of mothers, women, and their families. So in Congress, the pain part, I happen to serve on the Black Maternal Health Caucus, which is glorious. Yes. Where I'm working with my colleagues each and every day to pass the Omnibus Act. Yes. And it is, if you can believe it, in 2024, it is the only piece of legislation that looks comprehensively at America's mental health and maternal health crisis, and how all of those things impact the lives of mothers. It is also a piece of legislation that has zero support from Republicans. And so I asked myself, I said, well, maybe Republicans don't have mothers. Why would you not want to support this bill? Questions, questions, no answers. So if any of you all know someone, you can, be honest or not. Sometimes you don't even want to have to admit to yourself. But if you know someone who's a Republican, you should call them. Call them and say, hey, what's up? Do you have a mother? Do you have a mother? And if you do you have someone who wants to become a mother? Yes. And if you do, why are your people not supporting this critical, nonpartisan, relevant, real, appropriate, timely, important piece of legislation that basically just says, protect women. Recognize that maternal health is important and it impacts everyone. And for some women, it's a much more dire journey to take. And thankfully, those women are willing to take it. And so isn't legislation, federal legislation, which is the bare minimum, shouldn't legislation be out there that says we want to protect these women and the men and children and spouses that are connected to these women, that are taking the ultimate journey of trying to conceive? Just give it up. Give it up. So please, if you know someone, call them. Because I tell you, we go on the floor and I spend more time on the House floor debating the rights of refrigerators and dishwashers than your lives. We had a week where we had a bill come up on refrigerators. The next day it was a bill on the dishwasher. The next day it was a bill on a stove. And I called my staff. I said, tell me, have we been getting any constituent calls from refrigerators? Because when I go to Planned Parenthood, when I go to the county, when I go to visit the doulas, when I go to Kindred Space, we're not talking about refrigerators. We're talking about women, Black women, brown women, Asian women, single women, poor women, resilient women, who want some fucking support.
Thank you.
And then, we are in this very critical time. I'm not trying to mess with nobody's 501c3. But we're in a very critical time where it is so important that we are talking about all of these issues to people all across the country. And as I was thinking about places across the country where it is important for people to express themselves and talk about issues, I started to think about Georgia. And then I started to think about all this in the news about the abortion ban. Yes, they've instated it, reinstated, legal battles. And it is true, we are never having these kinds of discussions about men and their body parts. Yes, exactly, baby. Baby. I know, I did mention that to, I'll just tell the truth. I mentioned to my husband, I said, what did that mean? He was like, no. I said, exactly, that's how we feel. No. But was thinking about Georgia and Amber Thurman. Yeah? And in 22, she ended up someplace where she should not have been. She was trying to bring a life into the world, had complications, and was killed by a system that now, because of certain people and certain anti-values, those are not values. It is not a value to say someone must die because they have complications trying to conceive. She ended someplace she should not have been. And that state killed her because that state and many other states refused to see her, refused to see all of us here, all of us here. She should be raising her babies. We should not be celebrating her life. I applaud you. I applaud you for being here. Because by being here, you are also saying, no more stories like that. Let's connect. Let's lean into our courage when sometimes it feels so vulnerable. Let's collaborate on how to push this country to be better. Let's partner with each other, with our community, with policymakers, with strangers, to reconnect to the love and the power in our bodies. And let's do something to protect this power so that we have the power to make choices about what to do with our lives in a place that will be safe enough for us to do so. So I am here to say thank you. Thank you for your courage. And just know that I am with you doing my part in Congress to elevate your pain and your power, because it is so great and it is worth everyone else seeing. So I have deep appreciation for today. Thank you.
Keep it going for Congresswoman Sydney Calmager Dove. Unbelievable. Yeah, your color choice today was excellent. Well done. I do want to say, I know that there was news reporters here today. I'm 100% sure that we just got Congresswoman Sydney Calmager Dove, and I quote, "Trump doesn't have a mother." Did we all just hear? That's what she said. Write that down. Great. Moving on. I'm delighted to introduce our next speaker. Here on behalf of oh wait, I have to do my little clicky thing. Okay, there we go. I'm delighted to introduce our next speaker here on behalf of California State Senator Lola Smallwood Cuevas, representing the 28th District, which we are also in today. Senator Smallwood Cuevas has long been a fierce advocate for workers' rights and social equity. With a career dedicated to labor organizing, community activism, and racial equality, she has improved the lives of working families and created pathways for self-sufficiency, values that deeply resonate with the mission of today's event. Her transformative leadership extends from co-founding the LA Black Worker Center to advancing racial equity through the UCLA Labor Center. Though the senator is unable to join us in person, we're thrilled to have Ryan Hall here to deliver remarks on her behalf. Please join me in welcoming Ryan.
Thank you on behalf of Lola Smallwood Cuevas. I thank you all for convening and coming together for something so important. It's very imperative that we organize and move forward and create action plans to make a difference in the lives of women, my family, strangers, it doesn't matter. because it's all of us. We're in this together as one person, one people, as human beings. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Ryan, and thank you from all of us to the Senator Lola Smallwood Cuevas. Okay, next up, I'm honored to introduce our next speaker here on behalf of LA County Supervisor Holly Mitchell. There we go. A longtime champion for families and communities across Los Angeles with a career rooted in public service and advocacy for equality. Supervisor Mitchell leads with a deep understanding of the vital safety net LA County provides, ensuring that all residents, especially those that are most vulnerable, have the opportunity to thrive. Though Supervisor Mitchell is unable to join us today, we are so grateful to welcome Victoria Gomez to share a few words on her behalf and introduce a video that she sent to us from Supervisor Mitchell's support to this gathering. Please join me in welcoming Victoria Gomez. Thank you.
Yes. Okay. Good morning, everyone. I'm Victoria Gomez. I'm Supervisor Mitchell's deputy for Health and Wellness. I wanted to share also October is Infant and Pregnancy Loss Awareness Month, so just wanted to bring that out there. As a survivor of infant loss, I'm inspired by Cassie, who shared with me that I should share